Tonight, the celebrations across America and the world as a historic new pope is chosen. A special edition of Top Story starts right now. The stunning choice at the Vatican.
Habemus Papam.
The first American pope.
This is history in the making.
Excited, America!
The moment Pope Leo emerged to the thrilled crowds in St. Peter's Square.
La pace.
His first speech to the world as pope, delivering a message of compassion and openness. Our new reporting tonight on his time growing up in Chicago.
He might be Chicago-born, but he is the Pope for the world.
His mission in Peru.
He has a real hands-on knowledge of what it means to serve the poor.
And how he navigated the secretive conclave to come out on top. Lester Holt is at the Vatican.
You'd say once-in-a-lifetime experience, once-in-a-thousand-lifetime experience.
Our team's on the ground in St. Peter's Square the moment it happened.
Absolutely surreal. I don't want to cry again.
As we get reaction from Chicago.
Oh my God, the Chicago guy! Shut up!
And across America. Tonight, a new era for the world's 1.4 billion Catholics begins. What it means for the future of the church, and what we can expect from the man born in America as Robert Prevost, now forever known as Pope Leo XIV. Good evening. I'm Ellison Barber in for Tom Llamas. Tonight, history made at the Vatican. For the first time ever, an American is selected to lead the Catholic Church. Pope Leo XIV, formerly Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, elected pontiff on just the second day of the papal conclave. Video showing the emotional moment Pope Leo appears on the Vatican balcony to elated crowds. The Pope taking in the moment so many did not see coming. His election, a massive surprise for many people, with many shocked to see an American Pope emerge on that balcony. Listen to the moment the faithful learned a decision had finally been made. With that white smoke, thousands running to St. Peter's Square, hoping to take it all in. The vote ushering in a new era for the church. That excitement reverberating all around the world once Pope Leo was named. In a moment, you will hear from other Americans astonished at the decision and what they think it signals for the future. And tonight, we'll introduce you to the Chicago-born Pope who graduated from Villanova in Pennsylvania, but spent much of his time outside the United States, including more than 2 decades in Peru, before Pope Francis named him a cardinal. And we will speak with those who know him personally. What is he really like, and what direction will he take the church and the more than 1 billion worshipers around the world? NBC's Lester Holt starts off our coverage tonight from the Vatican.
Many people thought this extraordinary moment would never happen. An American, now the leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics for the first time.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
He is now known as Pope Leo XIV, but until today, he was Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost.
We cried, we hugged, we laughed, and that's before we knew that the new pope was from the U.S. And then when that happened, we cried again.
Yeah, for an American pope for the first time, it's really, really crazy.
Born in Chicago, the 69-year-old was educated at Villanova and led the Augustinian order, spending much of his life outside of the U.S., working extensively in Italy and Peru. On St. Peter's Square, we met Chicago native Denise Utter, who says she started shaking when she heard the news.
I'm an Augustinian affiliate and know his brothers and the people that he went to school with, and he will be I'm here because of him. He will be an amazing pope.
While back home, we heard from his brother, John.
And it's a tremendous, tremendous thing to take in, but it's something to be very proud of.
Bishop Robert Barron says Pope Leo is highly competent and highly respected.
When you looked at the attributes of Pope Leo XIV, did it make sense?
It does. He's a man of extraordinary accomplishment. head of the worldwide Augustinian order. I know him as a very kind of quietly a competent person, not a flashy personality, but someone that you can just see has a lot of integrity.
Against a pale blue sky, the white smoke began streaming from the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel just after 6 p.m. A deafening roar erupting from the crowd of tens of thousands. There were tears, hugs, and prayers. This nun overcome with emotion. We were with these students from the University of Louisville when the smoke appeared.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're here. We did it. This seems like something that's going to be very hard to top in your lives.
Yes.
You feel that way?
Yes.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. You know, you'd say once in a lifetime experience. I think it's once in a 1,000 lifetime experience to be a boy from Kentucky, to go to Rome, to see the faith. I'll never be able to top that.
Around Rome, people dropped what they were doing and ran. 150,000 people filling the streets leading to St. Peter's Square. Anticipation building as the world waited to find out who was chosen as Pope. Inside, Pope Leo changed into his new vestments, leaving the Sistine Chapel to the applause of the cardinals, pausing for a moment of prayer. Then outside.
Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam. We have a Pope. Pope Leo emerging onto the balcony, greeting the world as pontiff for the first time. Fluent in Italian and Spanish, he addressed the crowd in both, drawing comparisons to Francis as he spoke of the importance of a missionary church and a church that builds bridges. He is also a modern pope, active on social media. As a cardinal, he appeared to criticize both President Trump and Vice President Vance, recently posting the headline, J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others. But tonight, the president praising the pick.
What greater honor could there be? And we were a little bit surprised, but very happy. It was just a great, absolutely great honor.
It took 2 days to elect Pope Leo, just like his two most recent predecessors. The question now, what kind of pope will he be?
And Lester Holt joins us now from the Vatican. Lester, this is a historic day. You have covered conclaves in the past. Talk to us about what made this one feel different and that moment when you and so many others saw the white smoke.
Well, I think our expectations were different in this one, but there was all this talk about these electors had never really spent much time together, didn't know each other, they needed time to get together. And I think it's now apparent that a lot of that was taking place in those meetings of cardinals leading up to the conclave, and maybe that is when some of the relationships were developed. And of course, the big surprise was when we found out that it was an American. We were all kind of double checking ourselves. I was with my colleague Ann Thompson, and we're kind of glancing at the research, and we think they just named an American, so it took a few moments for us to latch onto that, and I think it's a shock for a lot of people tonight, a surprise, but those who know the new Pope say it makes sense. When you stand back and look at it, he's the right guy.
NBC's Lester Holt leading us through another historic moment. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Of course.
As the world gets to know the new leader of the Catholic Church, we are also learning more about the man they now call Leo. The new details about the Holy Father from a priest who's known him since the 80s and what he once said about Pope Francis years before he was elected to replace him. NBC's Ann Thompson has it all.
Tonight, the world calls him Pope Leo XIV. To his friends, he's Bob. The multilingual 69-year-old told an Italian interviewer earlier this month
at Chicago
that he grew up in a very Catholic family in Chicago. At Villanova University near Philadelphia, today bells rang out to celebrate one of their own. The new pope earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics in 1977. Villanova is one of only 2 Augustinian Catholic institutions of higher education in the U.S. The Augustinians here in Rome enormously proud.
Did you ever think your friend would become pope?
No, it's still incredible. I was crying in the piazza, just overwhelmed with joy about Yeah, my friend's the Pope.
Father Joseph Farrell has known Pope Leo since the 1980s. He says the new Pope plays tennis every week and is a speedy texter.
The one you see is the one who he is. He does not put on airs. He does not put on a mask.
He first came to Rome to study church law, then went to northern Peru as a missionary. He spent more than 20 years in the country, becoming a naturalized citizen. There he would rise through the ranks of the church, becoming a bishop. Then called back to Rome by Pope Francis to oversee the church's bishops, bringing a global and American perspective.
I am American, and I think I do have some insights into the church in the United States. So the need to be able to advise, work with Pope Francis, and to look at the challenges that the church in the United States is facing, I hope to be able to respond to them with a healthy dialogue.
Like Francis before him, he wants a church that builds bridges and welcomes all. Though as a cardinal, he was a prince of the church, he never saw himself that way.
The bishop is not supposed to be a little prince sitting in his kingdom, but rather called authentically to be humble, to be close to the people he serves.
As a cardinal, he was close to Francis. Here's what he had to say back in 2013.
He's a man who, on the one hand, is very simple and very profound in his faith, but he's a hard worker, and he knows, I think, what's ahead of him.
Now it is his turn to lead the church. The man friends call Bob, the first American Pope, Leo XIV.
And Ann Thompson joins us now from the Vatican. Ann, talk to us about this name. What do we know about the symbolism behind the name Pope Leo XIV?
Well, I think, Ellison, what you want to do is look back to Pope Leo XIII. He was the Pope around the turn of the century, and he's often referred to as the social Pope because he wrote the first social encyclical in the history of the Catholic Church. And it focused on things like the dignity of work and workers' rights. You remember, this is just post-industrial revolution. And it was a very significant writing. And I think if you look at who Pope Leo XIV is, in his missionary time in Peru, he's been very focused on people's rights, on human dignity. And that work, I expect, will continue as he leads the Catholic Church. Ellison?
NBC's Ann Thompson, thank you. Today's historical moment ushering in a new chapter for the Catholic Church. To help us break down what that could look like, we're joined by Kim Daniels. She's the director of the Initiative on Catholic Social Thought and Public Life at Georgetown University. She also served as an advisor to the Vatican communications team. And Chris White, he's a Vatican correspondent for the National Catholic Reporter and an NBC News Vatican analyst. Thank you both so much for staying up late and being with us on this historic day. Chris, let me start with you. Pope Leo was appointed by Pope Francis, and we know that he does have some similarities with his predecessor. Talk to us about what you think that could mean in terms of how he carries out his papal duties moving forward. Do you think we'll see a similar papacy to what we saw with Pope Francis?
Sure. I think one of the major things is he may be, Chicago born and raised, but he is a missionary by training. And I think it speaks to who he is personally. He was someone who he often credits being raised in, formed in Peru as shaping his perspective in the world. He bridges three continents, the United States, Latin America, and Europe. And I think because of that, he's going to bring to the papacy a global perspective like that of Pope Francis. But from a missionary point of view, I think he'll look toward the margins. We heard that in his initial remarks this evening. And I think in the coming days, when he lays out his pastoral plan, we can probably expect more of the same.
Kim, talk to us about this process, right? It's something that everyone is so interested in part because it is one of the most secretive processes in the world. Do we have any insight or any information now that we actually have a new pope on how the cardinals came to this decision, particularly one that seemed to surprise a lot of people in the world?
We don't know a lot of the details, of course, because it is secret. It does stay behind this veil, right? It's a matter of silence and of mystery. And at the same time, one thing we can say is the decision was relatively quick, right? It probably happened on the fourth ballot. It happened this afternoon. Some thought it would go longer. I think that points to a real sense of consensus and support for Pope Leo and a real sense of unity in the church going forward.
Talk to me a little bit, Kim, or even Chris, either of you who kind of want to take this, about some of what we think, how these ideas that we heard Pope Leo talk about in his speech. You touched on it, Chris, where he talked about having to seek together to be a missionary church, a church that builds bridges and dialogue. What will that look like in an everyday sense? A lot of people have said, what will this Pope be like when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues? We saw Pope Francis was really one of the first in the Catholic Church to say, at one point, he very famously said, who am I to judge? And that being gay was not a crime. Do we expect to see similar behaviors with this Pope, or could some of the things that we heard, and the New York Times has reported on speeches he gave in 2012, criticizing what he described as homosexual lifestyle and alternative families comprised of same-sex partners moving forward? What would he look like on those issues?
It was interesting listening to him this evening talk about a church open to everyone. I thought back to Pope Francis's often repeated mantra in the final years of his papacy that he wanted a church open to todos, 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 tutti, 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 everyone, everyone, everyone. And I thought we heard echoes of that tonight. Of course, we'll have to see, how he, gives life to that in his own ministry. But he certainly came out there tonight with a very welcoming posture.
What do you think, Kim, when you look back to some of the stuff in 2012, and I'll specifically cite that because it's something we've seen the New York Times reporting on today, where this now Pope Leo criticized Western media and popular culture for, in his view, having, quote, sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel, and then specifically mentioning a, quote unquote, homosexual lifestyle?
I think what I want to point to is his strong support for something called the Synod process, which is this way that the church, and under Pope Francis, was trying to move forward to a more welcoming, inclusive church that really called for greater lay participation. All of these cardinals, all of them sort of have been a part of it in some way or another. Cardinal Prevost was here during several months and committed to it. And in that, they talked about the transformation of heart that many of them underwent with this idea of engaging with people. So I can't speak particularly to it, but what I do know is that he supported that, was very involved, and really had a sense of engagement and movement forward in that process.
When you think about this Pope's background, his life in New York, all of the years he spent in Peru, his time in Italy, the languages that he speaks, are you hopeful that this is someone who can really bridge a lot of the cultural and just spatial divides we're seeing around the globe, regardless of whether or not someone is a member of the Catholic Church?
I was really struck by how many times he talked about building bridges in his remarks tonight. I was struck also by the fact that the elements of his life are all about bridge building. He's done that in his work in Peru with the government. He's done that here in Rome in the way he's worked behind the scenes. And of course, that's part of what he told us tonight that he wanted to do going forward on the international stage, on the global stage, and within the church. I noted that he wore garments that were really reflective of Pope Benedict in some way, more traditional way of approaching the church, and at the same time talk so much about Francis. It seemed like that was an element of bridge building as well.
All right. Kim Daniels and Chris White, and I believe I may have just mistakenly said Pope Leo had spent time in New York. I am in New York. Of course, he is in Chicago. I have seen people saying they think he is a Cubs fan. I mean, no offense to our Chicago friends out there. Kim, Chris, thank you both so much for your analysis and insights. We appreciate it. The announcement of the first American Pope sending waves of excitement through his hometown of Chicago tonight. The city's mayor posting this congratulatory statement to X, saying everything dope, including the Pope, comes from Chicago. Our Shaquille Brewster is there as the city celebrates this historic moment, and he spoke with those who knew the Pope well.
As the world welcomed Pope Leo XIV during his first appearance in St. Peter's Square, it was a more personal celebration back here in his hometown of Chicago.
This is beyond our wildest dreams.
Sister Barbara Reed knew Robert Prevost personally. She was there in Rome when Pope Francis elevated him to be a cardinal.
How are you processing this?
It's a little overwhelming yet, and as you can see, I'm still a bit speechless.
This afternoon, she was hosting a watch party at the Chicago school where he earned his master's in divinity.
What kind of person is he?
He's very warm, very inclusive, very intelligent.
Today, these kids hearing the news during a visit to the city's Holy Name Cathedral.
It was so amazing to see him come out.
The new pontiff grew up in the Chicago suburb of Dalton. People here still know him as Bob. But it was in Peru where Father John Lydon lived and worked with him for 10 years.
Is it going to be hard for you to stop calling him Bob?
Yes, yeah, actually, when I get a chance to communicate with them, that will be hard to say Leo now.
Lydon is now working the same job the new pope held when he was studying in Chicago.
His birthday comes up in September. Every part of the parish wanted to have him for a birthday celebration because they felt very close to him.
He's well liked.
Very well liked.
And Shaquille Brewster joins us now from Chicago. So, Shaq, do we know the last time Pope Leo was actually in the city of Chicago? And do we know if he plans to make a visit back there anytime soon?
Well, Ellison, according to the Vatican, we know his last official role here in Chicago was back in 2014. That was before he returned to Peru. Although he spent most of his life outside of this city and really outside of the country, he had some pretty big moments here in Chicago. Obviously, he was born on the south side of Chicago. He was ordained here. He lived in that building, that brick building right over my shoulder. And tonight, when you're here in Chicago, there's a lot of buzz and hope that he returns for the big moment when he is officially Pope, or at least during his first visit as Pope. You have the White Sox. I heard you talking about them a little bit earlier. They said that he's welcome to come to the ballpark anytime, but in the meantime, they already have a custom jersey and hat on their way to Rome for him. There's a lot of energy and a lot of excitement here in Chicago, and a hope that they'll get to see him as Pope fairly soon, Ellison.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Cubs and White Sox fans were claiming he was one of theirs. A lot of excitement there.
It was a big point of contention.
Huge point of contention. Shaq Brewster in Chicago, thank you. And we are also following some major news out of Washington tonight. President Trump announcing a framework for the first major trade deal since the start of his tariffs. The United Kingdom agreeing to the structure of an agreement that will peel back some of those tariffs on British goods in exchange for greater access to UK markets for American products. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has the details from the White House.
Very big deal, right?
Tonight, President Trump is touting his first major agreement since his tariff rollout, the framework for a trade deal with the UK.
Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security and will be working together as allies.
He says final details will be ironed out in the coming weeks. The 10% tariff the U.S. imposed on UK imports last month will stay, but the new agreement will roll back American border taxes on British steel, aluminum, and cars. In exchange, the British will open up access and lower tariffs for American companies selling beef, poultry, ethanol, and other products.
They're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast-tracking American goods through their customs process.
The president reaching the agreement overnight with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
But I think it's really important that we've been able to get this deal over the line now.
The deal sparking a 254-point surge in the Dow, but still looming large tariff talks this weekend between the U.S. and China.
If the talks go well, would you then consider lowering the tariff rate on China?
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see. Right now, you can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down.
Traffic at the port of Seattle is already slowing, with no new container ships arriving today.
How troubling is that?
It's a real concern for us. Out here on the West Coast, we are really trade dependent.
And Gabe Gutierrez joins us now from the North Lawn of the White House. Gabe, we also have some breaking news about a new appointment tonight by President Trump. What are you hearing? What can you tell us?
Yes, Ellison, it's a pretty high-profile position at the Justice Department. President Trump just announced that he's appointing Fox News host and former judge as well as prosecutor Jeanine Pirro as interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. That's after he pulled the nomination of his previous pick, Ed Martin, earlier in the day. The right-wing activist had been opposed this week by a key Republican senator, putting his confirmation in jeopardy. And just a few moments ago, President Trump posted on social media that Martin will be the new director of the Weaponization Working Group, Associate Deputy Attorney General, and Pardon Attorney at the DOJ. Allison?
Senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. And we are back in a moment with the new plans announced today to fix the air traffic control crisis. Will it be enough? Plus, the exclusive Dateline reporting on the Idaho murders. The new video of what could be the suspect's car circling the crime scene the night of the murders. Keith Morrison joins Top Story with the bombshell details. and America's Pope. We talk to people who knew the Pope well, what their past with him reveals about the future of the church. We're back now with the Trump administration's announcement today of a new national air traffic control plan after a series of deadly aviation incidents this year and those frightening communication lapses at Newark's airport. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy pleading with Congress for a surge of funds to upgrade the country's outdated systems.
I can't just announce it to you and say it's going to happen in 3 to 4 years. I need help. I can't do it by myself. And it's going to take the help of the Congress to make that happen.
And NBC News aviation correspondent Tom Costello joins us now. Tom, walk us through the revamp that the Trump administration has planned and what the cost could be.
Yeah, Allison, so the Secretary of Transportation is saying this in a best-case scenario, if you expedite it, we're talking 3 to 4 years, and it will cost billions of dollars. How much? He doesn't project that. He says that's going to be up to Congress, but he is already asking them to give all the money up front, and already the House has allocated $12.5 billion. They want the money up front. They don't want to deal with it year after year after year because they don't want to get into a situation where Congress says, OK, this year we'll give you $10 billion. But then the next year they say, oh, we can't afford it this year. Right. So they want the money up front. They want to begin a massive overhaul of the nation's air traffic control system, which, by the way, is dependent in some cases on 40 and 50-year-old technology, quite literally floppy disks like we had back in the 80s or 90s. So here's a list of what they are going to include in this massive overhaul of air traffic control. Number one, fiber, wireless, and satellite technologies now to help feed the radar data, right? So that'll be at 4,600 sites. 25,000 new radios, also new voice switches. They want to replace 618 radars nationwide. They want to upgrade runway safety technology nationwide. They want to build new air traffic control towers, new TRACONs as well, and then new hardware and software systems. And then lastly, in Alaska, 174 new weather systems. I will tell you, this really has universal support. On the stage today at the DOT announcement, we had the CEOs from every major U.S. airline, the leaders from the Air Traffic Controllers Union and the Pilots Union as well. And in addition to that, buy-in from both Republicans and Democrats. This has bipartisan support, in large part because everybody travels. And, of course, the mid-air crash in January happened in the backyard of Congress, so that really has got people animated and energized. A big plan going forward, but they're optimistic they can get it going pretty quickly. Ellison?
Tom Costello, thank you. When Top Story returns, the celebrations across the country today as the first American Pope was named, what it means for Catholics here. Plus, Jennifer Aniston's alleged suspect in court, the bizarre moment he showed up, see it there, shirtless. We are back now with our special coverage of that historic moment at the Vatican today. The first American Pope selected to lead the Catholic Church. Those who watched the announcement live in their schools and churches across the country cheering and jumping out of their seats at the news. NBC's Rahema Ellis has those reactions from here at home.
Leo XIV is Cardinal Primus. He's American.
Jubilation for Catholics across the United States today. After that stunning revelation, the new Pope is one of their own. Catholic school students from Tennessee to Pennsylvania, jumping for joy at the news. Shock even among church leaders, including this bishop in Beaumont, Texas.
Oh my God, it's an American Pope!
Social media buzzing over Pope Leo XIV and his Chicago roots.
We got a Chicago Pope. Oh my God, the Chicago guy! Shut up!
He's chosen the name Pope Leo. I'm wondering what that birth chart looks like.
Churches from San Antonio to Washington, D.C., ringing in the new Holy Father with a centuries-old tradition, a chorus of bells.
The bells started tolling, as they are now, and it was just a very moving moment.
And in New York City, Catholics gathering outside the landmark St. Patrick's Cathedral.
I think it's a great time to have an American who's full of love and peace, as I heard he said in his speech over and over again.
Brian Kerwin saying his and the new Pope's paths crossed years ago. And your connection to him is through college.
Villanova, class of 1977. Hope he's at the 50th reunion, or else we're happy to go to the Vatican.
Near their alma mater in Philadelphia,
America Pope, that's pretty cool.
These diner patrons letting the news sink in.
I know a lot of people have left the Catholic Church. Hopefully this new fresh blood will just bring everybody together.
The moment must-see TV for this University of St. Thomas student in Houston.
My roommate texted me. We saw white smoke. I ran down from my dorm. This room right next to us was packed.
And across town, some parishioners at the Co-Cathedral of the Sacred Heart fittingly finding out during Mass.
You know, we're going through a tough period right now. A lot of people are struggling. So I'm hoping we can pray harder and make this a better world for everybody, and I'm excited.
The excitement shared by cathedral goers here in New York City, hoping the new Pope can be a healer for tumultuous times. Ellison?
Rahema Ellis, thank you. And it's not just here in the U.S. that Catholics are feeling proud tonight. Pope Leo XIV is also a dual citizen of Peru, spending decades of his life in the South American country and even serving there as an archbishop. NBC's George Solis has a look at the work he did there and the reactions from Peruvians at home and also abroad.
As Pope Leo XIV introduced himself to the world,
a mi querida diócesis de Chiclayo en el Perú.
The Holy Father quick to highlight his ties to South America, speaking directly to his former diocese in Peru in Spanish. Though the new Pope is from the United States, he has spent about a third of his life in South America and holds dual Peruvian citizenship.
Once the Holy Father began speaking in Spanish, what message did that send to all Latin America?
Okay, I think that he's telling us that he is in Rome, that he will be the Pope, but he will never forget his poor people in Peru.
Father Jose Luis Menendez of Miami, reflecting on the significance.
It's a wonderful blend. It's like a cocktail, and the cocktail has two things. One from my own country, one who serves my people also.
Peruvians today overwhelmed with emotion.
What was your reaction to seeing the Father?
Oh, para mí fue una gran alegría.
For me, it was a great joy, an emotional moment, this woman tells me, saying she was with her son, who broke out in tears. Then a young priest, Robert Prevost, first came to Peru in 1985 as a missionary, where he spent 14 years supporting the community and spreading the beliefs of the Augustinians, the 13th century religious order founded by St. Augustine. He returned to Peru again in 2014 at the request of Pope Francis, becoming an administrator and eventually the Archbishop of Chiclayo, the capital city of the nation's northwestern Lambayeque region. His relationship with Francis, the first pope from the Americas, was a warm one.
I knew him when he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires. He's a man who, on the one hand, is very simple and very profound in his faith, but he's a hard worker.
Francis brought then Cardinal Robert Prevost to Rome in 2023 to preside over the Pontifical Commission for Latin America.
It's not coincidental that Pope Francis chose me. I've been a missionary my whole life, and I was working in Peru.
Today, as the news of the new pope spread throughout the world, bells rang out in his beloved Peru.
Qué alegría, qué alegría. Realmente es una alegría indescriptible saber que...
This woman in Lima, overjoyed by the announcement. She says she hopes Prevost will continue the legacy by Pope Francis, adding it's an indescribable joy to have a Peruvian pope. And in Chiclayo, residents gathering at the cathedral to celebrate their hometown hero. We wish him the best, this woman says. If he ever comes here, the hearts of all the people of Chiclayo will be open to him.
Sin duda ama al Perú.
The current bishop also offering his support, saying Leo wants to talk with the poor and the periphery, just as Francis did.
And George Solis joins us now from Miami. So, George, what are some of those people you spoke to hoping to see from this new pope?
Yeah, Ellison, a lot of the people I spoke with say they wonder if the new pope will be a reformer, much like his predecessor, Pope Francis. They're hoping that he is a pope of kindness, compassion, a healer. They also wonder if he will share the same love of football as Pope Francis did. They know he is a baseball fan, but above all else, Ellison, what most people want to know is that he is a pope for the people. Ellison?
George Solis, thank you. And what better way to get to know Pope Leo than to talk to people who know him personally? Joining us now from Vatican City is Vicar General Joseph Farrell of the Order of St. Augustine, who has known Pope Leo for decades, and Father Mark Francis, who runs the American arm of the Clerks of St. Viator, a religious order in Chicago, and actually studied with Pope Leo when he was a cardinal. Father Farrell, thank you so much for joining us, both of you. But let me start with you, because I understand you have been texting with the new Pope, Pope Leo, and I really do need to know urgently whether or not he is a Cubs or a White Sox fan, because I saw someone from Chicago say with a lot of confidence in an interview earlier that he'd heard Pope Leo was, in fact, a Cubs fan. Do you have the real answer? Do we know, is he a baseball fan, and is it Cubs or the White Sox?
So that's a really big question. Everybody's asking. I was able to text him, not really expecting an answer, because I thought he wouldn't have his cell phone with him, but the text came back with just one word. All the word was socks. So, according to Pope Leo, it's the White Sox.
I mean, look, Father Francis, it matters, especially for people from Chicago, right? Talk to us a little bit about your relationship with Pope Leo. As we mentioned, you studied with him. What about him led to him becoming the first American Pope, do you think?
I am still in a state of shock, actually. Pope Leo and I were in a theological discussion group in 1977 at Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. We were seminarians together, and it's still difficult for me to wrap my mind around calling him Pope Leo when he is still Bob for me.
Vicar Farrell, talk to us about the Pope Leo, or the Bob, that you know, and what it is about him as a person that really stood out to you. Are you surprised that he is now Pope Leo XIV?
Well, in a way, I shouldn't be surprised, in the sense that from the moment we met, and from our, other kinds of conversations, he's always a person who's focused, who's kind, who listens, who is someone who doesn't take himself overly seriously, but takes the ministry very seriously. At CTU, we were very much trained in terms of looking at the Second Vatican Council as the hallmark of our ministry. And from his comments today, and from my conversations, of course, in the intervening time, he still is very much a person whose DNA really is the Second Vatican Council.
And Vicar, what about you? Talk to us about your personal relationship with him.
Sure. My personal relationship has always been one of brotherhood. He was my Augustinian brother from the very beginning. When I entered the order in 1985, Bob was already, or Pope Leo was already, an Augustinian at that time, and was very welcoming. When I spent my novitiate year just north of Chicago, where he was living, I was up in Wisconsin for my novitiate year, and I remembered that he was always very welcoming, very supportive to all of us who were in formation. He spent a lot of time dedicated to the young guys who were coming in, who were trying to still discovering their own vocation to the religious life.
We heard, Vicar, let me ask you this again. We heard the Pope speak in his first address in both Italian and also Spanish. Why do you think that was significant for the people? And also, why do you think Pope Leo likely decided that he wanted to do it that way?
Sure. I think, first of all, as the new Bishop of Rome, he wanted to make very clear that he is the bishop of the Italians who live in Rome, and to speak in their language. Language is very important. And I think Pope Leo has learned that in his global experience as prior general of the Augustinians. Always trying to learn at least some of those basic communication skills to be able to connect to somebody in their own language is very important. So being able to do that in Italian for the people of Rome is important. He loved his experience in Peru. And I think part of his heart is still in Peru, and he wanted to make that known to his friends, his colleagues, the parishioners, the faithful, not only in Chiclayo, but also Chulucanas, Peru, where he served for many years, that his heart is still with them and that they are with him in this ministry.
And Father Francis, let me ask you before we go here, do you think there is anything the new Pope, Pope Leo, will actually bring to this role that is going to be different from his predecessors?
Well, you know, and I think knowing the new Pope, he's not someone to shoot from the hip. He is going to be very considered in his decisions and the way he speaks. He's a very steady person, and he's not a showboat. And so I think he's going to bring a great deal of calm and forthright leadership.
Father Mark Francis, Vicar General Joseph Farrell, thank you both so very much for your time and insights this evening. We really appreciate it. And we'll have much more on the American Pope coming up later, including the Americans who witnessed history at St. Peter's Square, what that moment was like. But up next, Keith Morrison joins Top Story, the exclusive new reporting on the Idaho college murders, his interview with the female college student who met the suspect and even exchanged phone numbers with him at a pool party. We're back now with Top Story's news feed. A mistrial declared today in the trial of a former Michigan police officer charged with murder following a traffic stop back in 2022. Police say former officer Christopher Scher pulled Patrick Leoya out of his car and over initially because his license plate did not match the car it was affixed to. Video showed Leoya running after he was asked for his license, but he appeared to be face down on the ground when he was ultimately shot. Scher maintained he feared for his life after losing control of his taser during a struggle. Leoya's family wants a second trial, the prosecutor saying his office will need more time to determine how to proceed from here. And a Los Angeles judge ordering a mental evaluation for the man accused of crashing his car into the front gate of Jennifer Aniston's Bel Air home. The 48-year-old suspect appeared in court today shirtless and wrapped in a blanket. The judge saying he needs to go through mental health court to determine whether he is competent to face felony stalking and vandalism charges. A not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. He was ordered to stay away from Jennifer Aniston. And Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates announcing plans to give the majority of his fortune away to the Gates Foundation. The money will be given over time, allowing the foundation to spend an additional $200 billion over the course of 20 years. Gates saying this will save and improve many lives now and after the foundation closes in 2045, which is earlier than expected. Gates' pledge is among one of the largest charitable gifts ever. And soon your favorite podcast could be awarded a Golden Globe. Organizers announcing the addition of a Best Podcast category to next year's ceremony. The top 25 podcast will qualify, and there will be 6 final nominations for the award. Golden Globe's president saying that they aim to make, quote, room for new voices and formats to be heard. Additional details will be shared in the coming weeks. Now to an exclusive new details in the University of Idaho murders. NBC's Dateline has explosive reporting about the case just as authorities in Idaho are ramping up to put the accused killer, Bryan Kohberger, on trial for the 2022 killings. Here's Dateline's Keith Morrison.
For 2.5 years, this scene has only been described in court documents until now. This video, obtained exclusively by Dateline, shows a white car on King Road in Moscow, Idaho, on November 13th, 2022. At the wheel, the state will allege, was Bryan Kohberger, making repeated passes near a house where minutes later 4 students were stabbed to death. Kohberger has pleaded not guilty to all charges. This and other materials from our trusted sources, presented now for the first time in public, are part of a digital trail from before and after the murders of students Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chafin. Materials like records from Kohberger's cell phone in the possession of law enforcement now, showing the phone calls he made shortly after the murders to a phone linked to his parents, just before he took a now infamous thumbs-up selfie. And Google searches regarding serial killers, including Ted Bundy, and searches for a particular kind of pornography. His searches include the words forced, passed out, drugged, sleeping. Does that mean anything to you?
Interesting, isn't it? These are all themes of power, domination, and control.
After the murders, investigators discovered a sheath from a K-bar knife apparently left by the killer in one of the victims' beds. DNA found on that sheath has been linked to Bryan Kohberger. Dateline was the first to report that Kohberger bought a K-bar knife 7 months before the murders. And now we've obtained records showing that after the murders, Kohberger was back on Amazon looking at K-bars. He even clicked Buy Now and began the checkout process before exiting. Kohberger's trial is scheduled for August.
And Keith Morrison joins us now. Keith, talk to us about the biggest revelations in your reporting and what should people expect to see on the full episode of Dateline?
Well, this has been a long-running investigation that's been pretty carefully guarded to ensure that justice can be done. We have been on the ground there in Moscow, Idaho. I say we, the royal we, because it's a team of people we have doing this. And they have developed a lot of very good sources and contacts, which we trust, and have also collected quite a lot of material that the prosecution will be using. And so we're able to show people, for example, that white Elantra that was seen cruising around the area near the house where the murders occurred in the minutes before it actually happened. And then we see the same white car dashing off at a high rate of speed afterward. We have information from Brian Kohberger's cell phone. We can say what he was looking up in the periods before the murders occurred and what he was doing afterwards. We can develop a kind of a timeline of his activities and behaviors. And we don't know if he is guilty or not. He's committed, you know, he insists he is not, or his lawyers do. So we'll find out at the trial. But the killer, whoever it was, seems to have targeted one of the young people in particular, and that would be Maddie Mogan, it is revealed to us. And the question I have is, why her? There are lots of opinions about that, and we'll get into some of those as well tomorrow night.
You have reported on so many high-profile cases. A lot of viewers will remember that explosive and wildly bizarre interview you did with Lori Vallow this season. For someone who has that wealth of knowledge, what is it about this case that makes you still really feel like there's a lot more to dig for?
It's going to be a very interesting trial, and I think that's what's developed, that's what's emerging as far as I can tell. The prosecution has a lot of pretty powerful evidence. The DNA on the knife sheath, the videos that I've been telling you about, the movements of Brian Kohberger's cell phone, the things that he looked up, looking up serial killers, looking up pornography that involved people who, you know, were being targeted because they were asleep or they were, you know, unable to defend themselves. The kinds of things that that people look for in the behavior of, frankly, of people who become serial killers. And again, though we don't know if this man is innocent or guilty, these are all going to come up at the trial, and the defense has an argument about just about all of them, including even how the FBI got its DNA evidence from the knife sheath. So there'll be a lot of back and forth in this trial. It's going to be, I think, quite dramatic.
All right, and you at home can see a lot more of Keith's reporting on Dateline's The Terrible Night on King Road, Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Keith Morrison, thank you.
Thank you.
And when we return, we are going to return to the Vatican and the moment history was made. What was it like to be an American in St. Peter's Square the moment Pope Leo came out? Stay with us. And finally tonight, tens of thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square for a chance to watch the iconic white smoke pour out of the Sistine Chapel chimney. Onlookers quickly learned that the first American pope had been elected and would be known as Pope Leo XIV. NBC's Molly Hunter was there as the sights and sounds from the Vatican all played out.
As we waited in the Roman sunshine, we were surprised, like everyone else, as white smoke came pouring out.
Oh boy, this is an unbelievable moment.
Sharing the moment with Haley and Seth from Kansas.
Is it white as smoke? And then we're like, oh, that's white. That's white. And then we heard the applause and the cheers.
We met Irene and John earlier in the day, married inside Vatican City this week, and prepared to sit out their honeymoon at the Conclave.
It's like the best wedding gift you could ever have.
A wedding gift they could never have asked for.
Oh, it was fantastic.
No, it was.
Yeah, it was just a moment of joy.
Spirits were moving, really.
And John's pastor here too.
Did you think you would see an American
Never.
in your lifetime?
No, absolutely not.
Very few did. We were standing with Chicago native Mary Fiorito as the balcony curtains opened.
Here he comes! Just as a Catholic, to have a new Holy Father, that's exciting enough. But then to find out that he's a Chicagoan as well, I could not believe it.
For Jess, Lex, and Chastity, their first day in Rome together was one to remember.
I think it's going to be something that's incredibly unifying for us as a country. It's something we probably needed. I'll never stop talking about this.
And safe to say, John and Irene probably won't either.
There are not enough words to express the happiness, the joy, the elation. It's unbelievable.
And Molly Hunter is at the Vatican. Molly, we heard from so many Americans in your piece, but what was it like for you to be there and witness this moment?
Allison, it was incredibly powerful. It was the first conclave I've ever covered. I was on the desk back in 2013 watching it play out on TV, but two things really struck me. The first is the sense of community and unity out there. People from all different countries, so many different languages spoken, everyone there leaning forward together. And the second is that there was no other event that I could think of in 2025, Allison, where I didn't know any more than the person next to me. We were all just watching that chimney, waiting for that sign and waiting for, of course, someone to come, the news of someone, to come out of that, Allison.
Molly Hunter, thank you for that beautiful reflection. We appreciate it. And thank you at home for watching Top Story. I'm Ellison Barber in New York for Tom Llamas. Stay right there. More news is on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.